Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Joanne Sainsbury. Now, I met Joanne at the Worcestershire Property Investors Network meetings, which I attend on a monthly basis and give an update. And Joanne is the host of these meetings. But Joanne also has a number of HMOs, so she's a very experienced HMO landlord, and I asked her to come along this evening and just give an update on sort of her experiences, really, the do's and don'ts, and I know it's becoming quite an interesting sort of investment opportunity for some landlords now, obviously because of the higher yields. So I thought it might be of interest for Joanne to come and talk to us about her experience. Bear with me while I just change these slides again.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much indeed. It's the right hand one. Yes.
And just watch the cables there.
I will. Hi everybody. A little bit of interaction I'm going to try and get anyway. Just want to say the NRLA talk was absolutely brilliant, and I actually count them as actually part of my power team. I really couldn't be without them. And you've just got a question, and straight away I pick up the phone, their section, their legal section, and get back to you the same day, actually often within 2 hours, and they are absolutely brilliant. And being a landlord, just having them there is fantastic. So yes, yeah. Anyway, so my name's Joanne Sainsbury, and I have a property company called Silkwood Property West Midlands Limited. And as Dawn said, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about some HMOs and things. But first of all, a little bit about me. I have been 35 years self-employed. I'm absolutely unemployable now, believe me. Nobody would take me on. I'm just too set in my ways. I really am. And first of all, I mean, I've had actual petrol stations, I've had a chain of restaurants. That's the only time I've been employed, and that was in London. That lasted 7 years. The rest of my life I've been self-employed. I've had gift shops in Stratford-upon-Avon. Anybody know? Well, not that you all know Stratford, but anybody been there recently? No, you've been one to change that, haven't you? Yeah, absolutely. So right opposite Shakespeare's birthplace. Yeah, there we go. That was my shop. In 1999, I bought 2 flats, so I've loved property, I really have, and wanted to get into property and have been a landlord since then. So I've actually got that one that you can see there at the moment. I've still got it in actual fact. But in 2019, I took the plunge, sold my shops, and got into property properly, full-time property. And I actually educated myself, because they say you don't know what you don't know. And even though I'd done single lets and everything, I educated myself, went on a year-long course, and learned a tremendous amount, and particularly about HMOs, which is what I first did. I do a learn and learn programme now for people, and I'm literally really passionate about giving back, and I'm actually now a coach and a mentor for the Help to Grow government scheme and also for the Property Investors Network, and I'm loving that side, I really am. So again, when I went and learned all this, I've learned, I can't remember a lot of it, but I can, commercial to residential, title splitting, so many strategies and so many creative finance ways to actually acquire properties. You don't just actually have to buy them. Buy, refurb, refinance and rent. I call it the model. Well, that's what I'm passionate about. The smellier the place, the dirtier the place, and turning it into something basically a home for the tenant is where I'm passionate. I learnt about deal sourcing, rent to rent. Does anybody in the room do rent to rent? Yeah, just a few of you. Yes, yeah. On HMOs. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Momentum investing, raising private finance. That's now how I actually get the properties, raise the finance, and get other people to buy it, really, basically, and pay them back later. Purchase lease options, earn and learns, and then HMOs. And so tonight, in actual fact, what I'm going to go on is talk about is the HMOs. So a lot of you are going to know this, but let's just go back to the basics. An HMO is occupied by 3 or more people that are not related. Often in students' accommodation, this is different, but often you pay all the bills, the TV licence, the council tax, the broadband, so it does add up, but as you'll see later, you get more per room, definitely. Have to admit at the moment, the utility bills are really sort of, put stress on HMOs, if I'm being honest, but just hope it will calm down eventually. But you do make a much higher income than you would on a single rate. I mean, it's very difficult to say how much more you would make, but you know, for argument's sake, it's all probably often double. So if you were making 350 a month, it's 750 to £1,000, 5-bed HMO. I'll come on to my figures later. Obviously the types of tenants you can get the professional tenants, students, and the blue collars. With the student HMOs, with them actually, I don't know what's going to happen about the fixed term, because I mean students need to take fixed term, they need to take their whole 11 months, don't they? So I don't get that, but NLA will sort it out, I'm sure. But with the student, you know, they pay the bills. It is actually great, and of course the best thing with students is parents guaranteeing their rent. Oh, I love the bank of mum and dad, so I should imagine. Does student HMOs, anybody in the room? Not the student ones. Any HMOs? Yeah, okay, just a few, yeah, that's great. So after this I'm going to ask who actually fancies turning their property into an HMO, but I'll wait for that. And there is also the local authority. You've got like the LHA rates, the local housing allowance, and then you've got supported living and registered social landlords. So in Watchford, one of my HMOs is let to a registered social landlord with adults with learning difficulties. So there is different ways there as well. But it had to be HMO compliant for the tenant demographic to take it. So the amenity standards, every council is slightly different. Obviously I'm quite au fait with Worcestershire County Council and Redditch Borough Council because that's my area. I'm not quite sure about Telford, but if you go onto the council website, you will find their amenity standards. It's quite easy to find. I do know that Telford, it's 5 or more when you need a licence. Okay, it's actually the same as Redditch as well. I don't need a licence. I have a 4-bed HMO, which I don't need a licence for. And 3 or 4 no licence, but you do need to be compliant. So it does have to have fire doors, the smoke detectors, all that. And 6 or more is too generous, which needs planning, and I'm pretty sure every council needs that. So the minute you want a 6-bed or more HMO, you need to go for full planning as well as the licence. It can get a bit confusing sometimes, but you actually need both. And Article 4 is where your rights your development rights have been withdrawn. Now, I believe Telford is not Article 4, and Redditch isn't Article 4, but where I do invest Worcester is. So if I wanted to have an HMO in an Article 4 area, it's not to say I can't, but there is certain criteria that the council will look at, and the biggest one is density. So, you know, if you've got loads of HMOs around you, they actually say categorically no. And I don't know the distance, but there'll be certain distance. Well, if there isn't an HMO in that area, we might consider it. If it's on a transport link, we might consider it. If you have so much parking, half of space per room, you might consider it. And there's a couple of more little things. So it's not to say you can't do an HMO in Article 4. You can, but it's just slightly more difficult to do. But Telford isn't Article 4 yet, which is great, make the most of that. Because a lot of places are going Article 4. Yeah. Again, on the amenity standards, it will give you how much the rooms need to be, what size they need to be. 6.51 square metres is my area, and that is really tiny. Nobody wants single rooms anymore. You know, nobody wants a single bed anymore. You sort of have to put these 4-foot beds in, really, just to get them to take the room. It will tell you in the amenity standards the size of the kitchen needs to be, the facilities, how much workspace, how many cupboards. And again, it varies by council, but not very much. But you know, they will come and they won't give you the licence if you don't have enough cupboards for the amount of people you've got in the room. So that's a really quite an important one to start with if you want to convert anything you have or buy an HMO. And of course, compliance. Check with the local, I mean, they are absolutely, can be quite helpful occasionally. And I have to admit, you know, the HMO officer, when I've been setting up the few, he really has been good. He's come out, he's helped, and even come up with some suggestions, which I'll show you in a little while. But they all need to be fire doors, and the surrounds, and the handles, and the instrument strip, and all that. It's about £500 like to fit one fire door with a surround, which sounds ridiculous. You can go to houses and pick a door that might be for £30, but it's not a fire door, and it's not with everything else. Smoke alarm system, again, your council will say whether it has to be interlinked or whether it could actually just be separate, not interlinked, yeah, all interlinked, but whether it can have a fire panel. That sort of varies slightly with council, and the amount of people you've got in the HMO. Emergency lighting, that all has to be in. So all these things are there, but your fire doors, your corridors, your exits. It does go up a great level for an HMO. And then of course your fire risk assessment, that has to be done. And it actually then has to be scheduled, tested and recorded on a regular basis. So yeah, there is more compliance, but yeah, we all want to give tenants safe places to live in anyway, so I'm sure we're all actually happy to do that. So this is a little mini mob that I had. It's called Mount Pleasant. It's actually in Redditch. So does anybody have any 3-bedroomed houses at the moment? There's a few. Has anybody thought of actually converting them into a 4-bed HMO? So here we go, I'll tell you what I did, you just see. I actually found this through complete focus of what I was looking for. I was just looking for 5 and 6 beds. Well, in my area, Redditch, there isn't the houses to actually convert, particularly into that. So I went and did my figures and thought, do you know, 4-bed works because of what I'm buying it for, the amount that I can get for the rooms, and the return I want on my investment, it does actually work. So I went out and I found this property. I actually lost it 2 years ago in December because somebody bought it straight away, but it's called a follow-up. And I followed up about 3 months later and the sale had just fallen through. Got it for £10,000 less than I offered in December. And so, yeah, it was good. Actually, meant for me, this one was. So we put in 5 fire doors and surrounds. That's why I know it's about £500. We then had an electrician do the emergency lighting, smoke detectors, and that cost us about £800 for this property. It's quite nice to know what the costs are going to be, really. It wasn't massive to do, and it wasn't back to bricks like most of my renovations and things that I like to do. The furniture cost about £500 a room, and then the decorating. And then we had new carpets and luxury vinyl tiles down in the kitchen area. And then we had the boiler checked and a little bit of miscellaneous. So all in all, this took about 2-3 weeks. I spent just under £10,000 on getting this 3-bedroom into a 4-bedroom and up to HMO standards. If you're like me, you like to see some photographs. So look at this, it wasn't smelly and dirty, but still. And then we just sort of converted it into, it's nice, you know, it's really nice. And my daughter actually helps do the interior design bit, she really loves that, so yeah, let her do it. So then this is actually before I've got them in my ward when I actually bought these places, but I had something called the Old Bakery. And so this was a back to bricks completely. This was the it was the smelliest, the dirtiest place possible. It had cat dog feces, and my builder, honestly, he wouldn't even go in until it'd been fumigated. It was that bad. My poor husband, he didn't see it until the day he got the keys. He'd go, oh my God, you've got a vision. He's never let me live it down, really, but it's a nice place now. I bought this for 156,000 and I spent 47,000 on it. Redditch Borough Council at the time were giving giving an HMO lifetime grant. I would have to pay this grant back if this ever becomes not an HMO. So I've got that in the back of my mind, but hopefully it won't. So with that grant, I ended up spending 41,000. 190 post valuation. This was a few years ago. This was actually right in the middle of COVID. My builder worked. I was really lucky. I did 3 projects in the middle of COVID. And the post valuation wasn't as much as I'd like to have been, but because it was a bridge to let, the mortgage company loaned me the money, and then at the end of it, they gave me 190, 75% of that, and it was a real quick process because it didn't have to actually go out and go to another provider, another mortgage company. So it did work well. We get a rental income of just over 1,275, which at the time gave me 19% return on my investment, my money left in. So it was okay, it was quite nice, a little bit more than single let. I was quite pleased with that. I then remortgaged this after 2 years, and I got it revalued at 250k, so I was thinking that's a little bit better, much better. I pulled out £42,500 cash, and it's now actually double that, 34% return on the investment that I have left in, and I'm really happy with that. And in actual fact, that's going to go up because I leased the furniture. So you can lease the furniture, and in a few weeks' time, the 3-year lease on the furniture is up, giving me another £220 on my bottom line, which will be very nice. So leasing furniture is a great tax way, I believe, of doing it. Yeah, so that's sort of called momentum investing really as well. Just a little bit of challenges, which if you are looking at something, seriously the HMO officer will help. We had to put a fire corridor in the old bakery, and we had a small door. Carlo's 5'6". You can see how small that is. So what do you do? 19th century building, you cannot change that small door. So the HMO officer came out, and we put a little vestibule, I haven't got a collector on here, a little corridor, vestibule, so you walk through the fire door, the fire corridor, and you go in, and you still bang your head as you go into the room. But, you know, they're there to help you, and that's what they will do. Oh, and a gas meter. We had a gas meter in one of the bedrooms, so again, Caden had to come and move the gas meter out of the bedroom to the front. I think Caden have been to every single property I've done. I've just bought a property. It's going through on Tuesday, and I don't think I need Caden. Woohoo! It'll be the first time ever. But yeah, there is challenges, and I'm sure, you know, if you want to go down the HM route, you are, but they're not insurmountable, and there are people there to help. So again, it's called the Old Bakery because it actually was an old bakery. That lovely fireplace we've sort of kept in, and I hate to say it, but that room there, the bedroom with the fireplace in, that is how the person was living in it. The room, the bed, you know, you could see the plaster coming through. It really, really was bad. Anyway, this is what we've done with it. So it's got a nice kitchen diner. We've got desks in each of the rooms, and wardrobes and things. So yeah, and touch wood, it's been fully let since I've had it, and some really nice tenants in there. They're blue collar workers, not a professional area, so they obviously work as sort of, I think one's the driver for one of the logistic companies, somebody's at Amazon, somebody's a nurse, and it is great, it really is. Shaking pictures. But I think you then go down the, you know, if you want to self-manage or you want to sort of get them managed for you. I think I probably know what you might all think in the room, managed for you.
Be careful what you say now.
Exactly, with all that legislation, who would want to self-manage? It's just a nightmare, absolutely. But if you do self-manage, you get, I suppose, to decide, we have to decide on your tenant type. That is actually before you sort of set up your HMO. You can't, you need to sort of know really in your area what your tenant type is. So if you're in a professional area, some great places in Birmingham, you'll go for the professionals, do a very high-end HMO. In mine, you know, it's got to be middle of the road, nice HMO, but it's blue-collar workers. So deciding on your tenant type is important. But the benefits of self-managing, yeah, it is cheaper. You choose your tenants and build up a relationship, and you get to see your properties regularly. And everybody's going, who wants to see the tenants? Who wants to go there regularly? And I don't want to know who they are. But the disadvantages are actually finding tenants. You have to do the credit checking, you have to do the referencing, you have to do the right to rent, you have to do the government thing now to prove what's it called? Not right to rent.
How to rent
You got the how to rent guide and the right to rent. That's the how to rent guide and everything. Absolutely, the legislation really is a tremendous amount. And then you've got to make sure that you collect the money, you set up direct debits with them, that you check it, and literally dealing with them if they have a problem. You know, they're going to WhatsApp you or phone you. So that's the self-managed route. And you have to go and do your regular compliance checks. But if you actually use a company Nock Deighton, look at that, you don't have to do any of those things because the pressure goes on Nock Deighton and not you. So go on, show in the room. Who would self-manage? You do, yeah. I do a little, but not for long. And who would have it managed for them? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, you're the sensible ones. I'm changing, because I do actually self-manage at the moment, but I'm getting over and I'm not going to do that so much. Just a little bit, sort of, this is fundamental success in property business, really. I think having clarity of vision of where you want to go and what you want to do, whether you want to increase your portfolio, decrease your portfolio, whether you want to go down the HMO route, single let route, or change completely. I think having clarity of vision is really helps people move forward. And then having the right mindset. Once again, if you think you can and you think you can't, well then you're right. Henry Ford, love Henry Ford. Having the right mindset to move forward. It is tough times at the moment. The environment, it's absolutely great because if you're in an environment where people aren't in property and they're sort of, oh, what are you doing that for? I love this type of meetings because we're all in property in some way. And we're just networking, talking to other people, and it just basically uplifts you and puts you in the right environment. Knowledge and skills, again, you don't know what you don't know, and having the knowledge and the skills, or getting the knowledge and skills to change, I think is really important. And actually, habits and actions. We all get into our own set ways, and looking at habits and actions at the moment can really help. As I said earlier, something I absolutely love doing is coaching and mentoring. It is quite different. The mentoring is the help scheme is mentoring small businesses, and the coaching I tend to do property coaching more. But if anybody at all wanted anything at all, just chat with accountability, time management, clarity, vision, mindset, habits and actions, personal work-life balance, social media, networking, or just a first perspective on deals, then I would just love to help because it really is my passion now, absolutely. This was the property I actually bought. I wouldn't leave my desk until it actually had that corridor already built in. Can you see the fire corridor there? Rather than me having to take a terraced house and try and make a corridor, make the room really epoxy and small. And it had to have the staircase in the right place. So that's when I'm actually focusing on something, really focus on what I'm absolutely looking for, and then just go like a Rottweiler really, and I'll only go and see sort of 5-10 places that fit into the criteria I'm looking for, and this particular house, Little Minimo, did. So just a really quick summary here. HMOs are hard work, but significantly more monthly income. A 3-bed house could easily be repurposed. You can add value with an extension. In actual fact, I've done this on a couple of properties, just about to add on another property, and an extension makes a world of difference. This is literally 4.63 metre extension. It's as long as that table, and it's about this wide. The difference it's going to make to the property as you walk through is amazing. So again, you can add value to your property, and then you can remortgage it, get it higher rates. There's all sorts of things. You can buy a ready-made HMO, which is a great thing to do as well. Whatever you do, just make sure you do your due diligence. That is really, really important on everything, on figures, etc. I didn't go too much into figures today, really, because not enough time. But yeah, but getting your due diligence on your figures. And guess what? Make sure you have a good letting agent. But seriously, it is important. And a good letting agent. You know, you hear some horror stories of even letting agents. So I think, you know, everybody's in safe hands here with Nock Deighton, definitely. So yeah, really, I whizzed through it. But I just want to say, yeah, thank you very much. If there was anything at all, questions either now or I am staying around later. And there was no silly questions, okay? That's me. So just sort of, yeah, I've got some cards as well. I've got a great WYSIWYG app, Bling, I think something it's called, Blink or Bling or something, and it's QR codes and it just goes straight to your phone. So yeah, please come and see me at the end. Thank you very much indeed.